Um, I wanted to do a little video about ear training because there's some very strange stuff out there at the moment. Not really wanting to put anybody's nose out of joint, but some of the information is a bit strange. Ear training is something we just don't seem to talk about as bass players, and it's as any musician, it's just vital. It's vital. You need to be able to understand the concepts of ear training, and it's not a case of, okay, well, just play and listen to what you play. I mean, obviously that's important, but you've got to understand the fundamentals of ear training. It's like being a painter and not understanding colours. You know, you could say, well, blue is blue, but is it a white blue or is it a dark blue? Same with ear training. I just want to cover the most sort of basic area of ear training, just briefly. So the most important scale in Western music is the major scale, of course. All songs based around the major scale or the relative minor. So the major scale is the most important. That's what we're hearing. That's what we're trying to hear. People just seem to think, well, if I play and if I listen, then everything will work. And like I said, you need to be aware of what you're playing. Obviously, that's the most important thing. That's what we want to do. We want to know what we're playing. But you need to train. We say ears. It's not ears. It's your brain, isn't it? It's your brain. It's understanding this information. And the most basic form of ear training is understanding tension and release. That's how music works. It's tension and release. Certain notes are resting or they're active, and that's it. And that's how we create the music that we listen to. So I just wanted to go over understanding how the notes of the major scale, so we just took about 7 notes here, we'll use C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, how they work with each other, because most songs are written in a major scale. So if you can start to understand how notes work and how you can hear which note is being played in the scale, you're starting to make progress. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take it. I wanted to do this on the piano. I can't seem to get my electric piano, to work through the computer at the same time as recording. So bear with me. What I've done is I've just looped myself playing a C major chord, C, E, G. Okay, so if you understand, obviously we're talking about understanding a little bit of basic harmony here. C, E, G, C, E, G. So that's the most basic chord. This is the root chord in the key of C major. So what I'm getting at is how do you hear other notes? You're playing a song. It's in the key of C. How do you know what's being played? How can you hear it? And also, how can you use that information to make your bass lines or your solos more interesting? So just bear with me. So I've basically looped C major chord on the loop, going round and round. So the note C is the root. Now, the thing I really want to get across is being able to hear whether a note's active or resting. That's all I'm talking about at the moment. So a C major chord, C scale, C major key center, C is going to be the most resting note you can play. What are the other notes in the C chord? C, E, G. Well, the E and the G are probably going to be resting notes. They're all notes that are the first, third, and the fifth are the most sort of resting notes you can play within a key center. And the octave, of course. There's the octave. So I played the third. Is it active or is it resting? That's the most important thing we need to ask ourselves at the moment. It's pretty resting. It's comfortable where it is. If I play the fifth, is it resting or is it active? That's all we're asking ourselves at the moment. It's resting. Okay, so let's look at the other notes. So those are the most important notes within a major scale. The first, third, and fifth. So if you're playing a bass line, using those notes, next notes within the major scale. So we've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B. We've played C, E, and G. Those are resting notes. So to teach yourself to hear when you're hearing a note that's resting, the next notes are not resting. We'll start with the sixth, which is semi-resting. It still wants to go somewhere. So here's the sixth note. Here's an A. Now, if you listen to that, you can hear it wants to go somewhere. Where does it want to go? It wants to go down to the fifth. Could go up to the octave. But it's not a resting note. So if you can teach yourself to hear that. Okay, let's take the second. So the D. It wants to go somewhere, doesn't it? Down to the root. You take the fourth note, the F. It wants to go down. It wants to go. You take the seventh note, the B. So this is the most basic form of ear training, is learning to hear whether notes are restive or active in relation to our Western music. We're talking about Western music here, the key center. Notes are either resting or they're active. This is what creates music. And the first step in ear training is to be able to tell whether a note is resting or active. So I would say for anybody who wants to start working on being able to hear, getting their brains working, just practice trying to figure out whether a note's resting or active. That's the best place to start. Don't listen to people who say, oh, you've got to memorize an augmented scale or this, that and the other. I mean, you've got to start somewhere. You've got to start basic. Got to think, right. And it's a cool thing. You can listen to songs, you can listen to melodies. Within those songs, you can say, oh, those notes restive or are they active? You don't even have to know whether it's the second, third, fourth, or fifth. We're not talking about that. Are they active or are they resting? You're halfway there. So the first step in ear training is to do this. And by the way, I'm only doing this video because I've seen such strange stuff out there lately that it's sending people off in the wrong direction. I'm not selling a book. I'm not doing anything. I'm just doing this because I just feel that a lot of people are searching for answers and they're kind of going off in these weird directions. Start basic, major scale. Is a note restive or is it active? That's the first thing you need to do. Maybe I'll do another video at some point and we'll start to build on that. But that's the thing you need to start with. Listen to songs. Is it in a major key? Is it in a minor key? Are the notes restive or are they active? That's really where to start. Okay.